Davros is the child of war. A war that wouldn't end. 1,000 years of fighting till nobody could remember why. So Davros, he created a new kind of warrior. One that wouldn't bother with that question. A mutant in a tank. They would never ever stop. And they never did.
The Daleks?
How scared must you be? To seal every one of your own kind inside a tank. Davros made the Daleks. But who made Davros?
Radio for Skaro.
Hello everyone, welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 494. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
And Doctor Who has returned.
Is required.
Mm-hmm. They actually said the Doctor is required. That was pretty awesome in this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one of the many callbacks
yes.
in episode 1, The Magician's Apprentice, which aired on tonight as we record this, because we watched it earlier today. Chris just watched it. Mm-hmm. This is the perils of being in Canada, you see, because the BBC shows no love for space, and so the space can't show any love for us for screener copies. So we have to scramble like nobody's business to watch an episode of Doctor Who and then record a review of it, like we are right now. So. But judging by the Facebooks, it looks like it went down a storm, as they would say in the United Kingdom. But
I've yet to do anything today, well, since Doctor Who began anyway, on social media, so I haven't really seen anything out there for reactions. There's a little bit that has crossed my path accidentally, and it was positive words, I would say, but I'm curious to see what the general consensus of the world is, because I know what I think, and I know what Kat thinks, and I'll find out momentarily what you guys think.
That's right. Like right now, perhaps. But, well, first I'll mention some other big news. Jenna Coleman's leaving Doctor Who. We'll talk about that later on.
Wah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sad about that.
So am I. That's how I just express sadness, by wah-wah noises.
That's like a sad trombone. There's.
Yeah, it is.
Sad trombone.
It's a genuinely sad trombone.
Yeah.
Also, because we're recording this on a Saturday night and not the Sunday morning for us, we will not have access to stats and overnight viewing figures. I'm very sorry.
Yay!
Yeah. Would you like to wager a guess, though?
I mean, you get double next week, Warren.
I know. Anyone want to wager a guess for overnights? I think I have a number kicking around in my head. But
9.
Sure, you go first. Do you want to do like Price is Right rules and with like no prize?
Price is Right rules, and it's Canadian Price is Right. Then basically, you know,
whoever comes closest without going over.
I'm gonna go with 4.7 million. That's stuck in my head for all day. I'm going with 4.7. Yep.
Well, I yelled out 9, but I'm gonna say 6.5.
I gotta think Warren's closer to the mark here. I'm gonna, you know what? I'll echo Warren. I'll say 6.5 sounds.
You can't choose the same as him.
Okay, fine. I can't change. 6.7. 6.7.
Okay.
Why can't he choose the same as me?
Well, because it's the Price is Right. That's not how it works. You can't pick the same price.
Okay, the arbitrary rules from another game.
6.5 million and 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Well done, Chris.
I don't know why I went for 4.7. I just sort of assumed. That's all.
What was the weather like in Britain today?
I don't know. It was getting dark, but then, you know, Pointless Celebrities is the show that led into it, you know? And I'm thinking, like, this isn't like Strictly Come Dancing or anything, so it didn't have a strong lead in, I'm thinking, so. Other
than the Doctor Who celebrities, Pointless Celebrities, I have found it tough to watch that show. The celebrities, quote unquote, they tend to be not even like B or C or D list. They're like S or T list.
Yeah, I have
T-list.
I have to say, I was watching that. Eric and I were watching a little bit before the internet crapped out, and
Did you recognize anyone?
No, I was thinking like, so which one of the team is the celebrity? I thought one guy. I was sure that one guy was in Battlefield until I realized that he died last year. So it probably wasn't him.
Maybe it was though. It's a zombie.
Like
I have to say, as far as lead-ins go, because I always turn it on 20 minutes early just to make sure that the bandwidth has kind of gotten its act together before Doctor Who comes on.
Yep.
And so I find Pointless Celebrities dumb, but the least offensive of all the lead-ins I've ever seen. I loathe Strictly Come Dancing. And Tumble is just, I can't believe this is on television.
You know what?
And Don't Scare the Hair has got to be the dumbest thing I've seen in my life. So
by the end of it,
is fine.
By the end of it, I kind of got to like Don't Scare the Hair.
Oh my god! It's just, maybe it's part of it is we have this whole process where, as North Americans, you generally get the cream of the crop of British stuff. You just assume, oh, they must make nothing but good TV over there, and then you turn this on, and you're like, oh no,
especially on the BBC. Yeah,
yes. Just why is that? Why does that even exist? Like, what is that for?
Tragic, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So, Pointless Celebrities, in contrast, was just like a big old inoffensive marshmallow, as far as I was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I love Pointless. It's a great game show, but the celebrities one is just they're not celebrities to me.
No, these celebrities, people we recognize, us here in Canada who don't actually pay the license fee. They should be pertinent to us. You see,
Did you
cater to me?
Because let's avoid talking about Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah, why not?
Have you guys actually seen the Doctor Who Pointless Celebrities?
No, never have. Heard about it. That's all though. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if I ever actually archived that someplace.
Just by the way, as a side note, I also watched It Was All Right in the 60s, our good friend Simon Harry's show.
Yeah, that's a great show.
And so, but they had a commercial for, I guess McDonald's has got a taste of the exotic going on or something over in England, because they have Canadian and they're showing all these shots of Canada and they've got some Canadian meal. And I'm like, what? What? And it looked like every other McDonald's meal I'd ever seen. I was like, there's no poutine, there's nothing that's obviously stereotypically Canadian. It's just like I think they just threw a picture of the CN Tower on there and said, suckers, here you go, eat this crap. It was very strange.
You don't get us, UK, just like we don't get you.
Yep.
Yeah. And on that note, good night, everybody. Next week we'll talk about The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch is Familiar. Chris, since you just watched it, I'm going to let it sink in a little bit for you, a little bit more, and we'll ask Warren his initial thoughts on this first episode of Series 9.
Well, let me tell you, I quite enjoyed it. It was an exciting thrill ride. I was watching the whole guitar wankathon, which it is, but I still enjoyed it anyway. And I was thinking to myself, maybe Tennant could have pulled this off, but it would still have been a little forced. Capaldi is the perfect guy for this.
I could see Matt Smith pulling it off.
No, I can't see Matt Smith at all pulling it off.
Could not see Eccleston doing it, though.
No, it just wouldn't fit. But I couldn't see... The gravitas is not the right word, but it just makes more sense with Capaldi's Doctor. You know what I mean?
He's an old rocker, yeah.
Yeah. It just felt... I don't know if right's the right term, but fitting. Let's put it that way.
I suppose it doesn't hurt that in our minds... knowing what we know of Capaldi as a person and his history, that we kind of have the whole punk background,
and they're trading on that too, like
a little bit, yeah.
But I mean, Missy was great. Jenna Coleman, Clara was also excellent. If there was a weak link, I think it was kind of Unit. They just seemed a little derp. What's happening next? Which I expect a little more out of Kate Lethbridge-Stewart than that, But as I can't remember the exact term, it was great though that Erica used about their use of the Bechdel test, where they're all talking about Missy. It was, I can't remember it. She'll have to remind me. But it was a very good celebration of how much Bechdel was going on there at one time. They weren't talking about the Doctor at all.
Actually, they were talking about the Doctor for a good chunk of it, but yeah.
Yeah, but then they were not. And then I loved the reveal of it being Davros as a kid.
Yes.
I was like, what? I actually said, holy beep, all by myself, sitting on my couch. So I thought that part was great.
Yeah, did anybody sort of like there was a lot of chatter going on the internet the week, the few days leading up, especially the BBC America is like showing Genesis of the Daleks like on Sunday, I think, as this goes out, like the day after the saying, for no reason at all, we're showing Genesis of the Daleks, just so you know. And there's a lot of people like saying, it was tough to avoid, so I think I kind of had an inkling it was going to be Davros, but did either of you sort of have that inkling too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had a hint of it, but I was still kind of, what? When I saw it on screen. And plus, Julian Bleach is, I think, probably my second favorite Davros ever. Like he's just
he's awesome.
He's just great. Like he's probably better than Wisher in some ways, but Wisher is just Wisher. So, I mean, you just love him because he's so good.
When I was watching it and saw the reveal of adult dying Davros, the first thing I did was went to Wikipedia just to make sure it actually was Julian Bleach they got again, because I'm like, I was thinking, I hope that's Julian Bleach. I couldn't quite tell because I saw 2 seconds of video, and I was kind of doing an internal happy dance when I saw Bleach's name on the cast list. He's
just great as Davros, and I love the fact you're almost sympathetic to Davros, and then he turns out to be the same old jerk as always at the end, which was great. If I had one complaint, it's not even a complaint, it's just that they get in that final Dalek control room, and it's a little sparse, all things considered, but I'm sure there's going to be more to it than that. Next. But I did like that the special weapons Dalek showed up yet again, and that super old school Dalek showed up. I was kind of hoping for a few other Daleks. I was almost hoping to see a Skittles just so they could blow them away, but of course they didn't.
The special weapons Dalek, thankfully, was in the trailer, although it was really mostly obscured.
He's there. He is there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but you see him in the episode. See it in the episode quite clearly, and even a flashing light when it speaks, which I don't think you saw in Remembrance.
I think you're right.
But I loved how even though we saw the trailer, we know there are old school Daleks in there. I loved that the first one we saw in the episode.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Was the oldest school.
Michelle Gomez is excellent as usual. Like, I love her version of the Master. She's way up there for Masters for me. And I like that they just kind of brushed past how she died in a very funny way. It's like, I'm not going to bother explaining. Yep. I'm sure they probably got something
twice
episodes down
they
the
did
line.
That too.
Usually when they do that, they've got some explanation and it fits in somewhere else, so I don't mind when they do that. Capaldi was great. I like the fact that he hugs Clara, and you're like, oh, things are going a little south here. What's going on? I thought it went on a little long in 11, whatever it was. But I didn't mind that too much. But if I had to pick a part that I thought was the weakest,
11th. Yeah, I know the guitar bit. I think just that's the one thing I was noticing is that it took me a while to get used to the pacing of a two-parter. But I like the dramatic scenes that were longer. But I don't know about the silly scenes, because comedy works best in short bits.
Yeah, and I liked it. I just didn't. If I had to pick something to criticize, that'd be it.
Yeah,
and of course at the end where Clara's theoretically dead and so is Missy, I'm like, no, of course they aren't. There's more to it than this. I do like the trailer we saw for allegedly the new series. It was basically all this.
Yeah,
which was very nice.
A lot of it was, yeah. But I mean, I think that's the kind of thing we tend to say every year. Not, we see what we see in the trailer, and we have this expectation in our mind that it's covering a lot of breadth.
That's nerd enthusiasm,
like 2 or 3
basically.
episodes.
Also, I quite like that there was some RTD callbacks, like the Shadow Proclamation, and that woman's fro has gotten out of control. Like it's just madness at this point.
That was the same actress, yes?
I think it was. Yeah,
looks like it was.
And also all the news. I guess the news thing isn't specifically RTD, but it's a very RTD trope. So I kind of like that they threw it in there.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was intentionally an RTD thing. And also this is pure nostalgic sopping and unjustifiable, but the fact that I saw Tom Baker on the screen doing the original thing with about the whole virus argument and the wires and all that, and then all the audio, even including, I actually kind of liked that they had limited race pudding in there. That was pretty sweet. So anyway, I said enough. You guys, I want at least something for you guys to talk about.
I do want to touch on a couple things. Yeah, it's funny that they've gone back to Genesis of the Daleks now, which is in and of itself going back to the literal Genesis of the Daleks. We're going back to the Genesis of Davros. It's odd. Like I kind of had an inkling that it was Davros leading up to this, but I put 2 and 2, especially watching the Doctor's Meditation, which was in theaters. But not online anywhere as of now, unless you're in the UK on Facebook.
Oh, no, it is. It's on Daily Motion. I watched it.
It's on Daily Motion, right. Yeah. I mean, legally, you know what I mean.
Legally, it's only on Facebook for the UK viewers.
Yeah. Gotcha. But I think the doctor referred to this person who he needs to meet as a scientist. So I thought, I think that might be Davros. And
when they said his servants in the other one, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And honestly, the first few seconds when I saw it, when they're sort of running from like biplanes shooting lasers, which I thought was kind of
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But when I saw a guy running around the wasteland with a bow and arrow, I thought, that's a callback to Genesis of the Daleks right there. When the Doctor says, they'll be fighting with bow and arrows at this point,
And the gas mask.
and the gas mask. Yeah, and I thought this is the Thal Khalid War. This is awesome.
But I didn't pick up on the kid until they said the name. I didn't, for whatever reason, I just didn't click with me that kid would be. Even though, like the typical Moffat thing where it's like, in hindsight, like, oh, of course. But he's very good at double blinding you with this stuff, so.
Yeah.
I was just going to jump in to say, for me, it was a reasonably similar process to yours, Stephen, except going back to the prelude, the whatever they called it, the not prequel this time anyway, the set on Karn with Ohila.
That was the prologue. That's the
prologue. There we go. That's what they called it. Even that screamed Davros to me.
Yeah.
So I had it in my mind ever since watching that we were quite possibly going to see Davros, and then seeing the wasteland planet, seeing the laser shooting biplanes and the bows and arrows and the gas mask, and I'm because we know from descriptions of what's coming up, we knew that this story was set on Skaro, at least in part. So it didn't take much of a logical leap to think it was they call it the Thal War. And I see the kid, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no surprise it was Davros.
But it was still a cool reveal.
Oh,
It was a good reveal. The more interesting facet for me was not that it was Davros as the kid. It was the Doctor's dilemma of what to do with this kid.
Twice,
and three times, sort of. But and we see his decision is to cut and run, which. It's kind of interesting.
And then the part where I've never seen him show shame before. That was really cool too.
I know.
And Davros twisting him toward the end to say, the emotions are bad, kind of thing.
I love the fact that it actually echoed the line which they played back of Tom Baker speaking. If you saw that child and knew it could grow up to be a ruthless killer, could you then kill that child? I just that's brilliant.
Yeah,
tying up with its own history. Yeah, what did you actually think of the episode then, Chris?
I bloody loved it. I was about to swear there.
Yeah,
I don't need you to have to bleep things. No, it was quite fantastic. I thought it was a really good lead-in. One thing, so I'm sort of on record of saying how Series 6 wasn't one of my favorites, but man, I love the opening two-parter, and I'm kind of getting flashbacks to 2011. Watching that opening two-parter and now the first half of this opening two-parter, because it's really, really compelling stuff, and I very much enjoyed the ride. Not perfect, of course. There's a couple things I might get into if I think about it, but I don't want to really ruin anything. But it was very, very good. The Doctor's entrance was, how do you top that, right? Like we see the 8 frames or whatever of video of him playing an electric guitar in the trailer, but I didn't know it was from this. And you see him coming in with and then the reveal of the tank as it comes out of the smoke, and
and he's basically playing the theme more or less.
It kind of sounded like some rock tune. And I was going to ask you, Stephen, if it's something you recognize. Like, obviously, I recognized "Oh Pretty Woman" after that.
Yeah,
but I couldn't quite. It sounded like the Doctor theme, but I thought, no, it can't be that meta. But did it ring any bells for you, or is it just jamming?
No, I think it was. I was watching. Where was this? It was the interview with Will Wheaton, actually, and also in the theater they had there, where I think they were sort of throwing songs at him, say learn this, learn that. I was more actually looking at his fingers. I was trying to listen, like, are there any recognizable songs here? Clearable stuff. But I think for the most part, I think some of the shredding wasn't quite him. I think it was overdubbed, but I'm led to believe that perhaps some of the stuff was actually played by Mr. Capaldi. But I think it was overdubbed. It was overdubbed because he was playing through this tiny little 20 watt amp. From what I could tell, with no cord going into it.
I didn't even notice. Having a wireless pickup on the guitar is trivial, but I was going to say I didn't even notice an amp. So.
Yeah. It was
I didn't either.
it was to his right. It wasn't. It was no Mad Max amp, which is kind of sad in a way.
Well, his guitar didn't shoot flames either. So
No, but
are
it
you
should've.
disappointed?
Nothing will top. I can't remember what the hell the name of that guy is, but yes, the Mad Max guitar guy.
Yeah,
He has a name. I don't know what it is, but
He does, and I can't remember what it is.
Although the Conan O'Brien spoof of that was awesome. If you've seen it,
I have
But
not.
still, just it can't get any better than actually having the guy in Mad Max. See, you're still giggling about it months later.
it's a good movie. That's why.
Yes.
What was I going to say? I just got a couple points here. I'll just throw them out there, and we can discuss as needed. So I thought the just the visual of the biplanes and the bow and arrow was so absurd. I loved it. The hand mines, quite creepy. Yeah, we saw them in the trailer, but still quite creepy.
Very creepy. I thought I would almost think that they're kind of like proto Daleks in a way, like sort of rejected.
yes, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
I think proto clams perhaps.
Did you hear the clam mines?
If only.
Did you? One of the first lines the guy says is, watch out, there's two, clam mines are being deployed. They actually talk
No.
about clam mines. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said hand mines.
I thought he said hand mines.
No, they were clam mines. Yeah, or clam
wow.
bombs or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
When I get the chance to watch it a second time, I'll have to keep an ear open for that.
Yeah, I watched it with the subtitles on, and they totally said clam bombs or clam mines or something like that. It was awesome.
That is awesome. I did feel it was a smidgen disappointing to see scenes at the Moldavarium, but not see Dorium, and to be at the
He's
Shadow
dead.
So his head might still be kicking around.
Yeah.
Or to be at the Shadow Proclamation. I mean, they got Nick Briggs doing Dalek voices. Couldn't they just throw us a little Boro Foshoco or something like that from
There's no point.
I don't care. I see a Jadoo and I want to hear him speak because
Oh.
it's funny.
Appease me. I am a fan of 40
right.
or something.
Must be served in all things.
Yeah.
No, I have no problem with. I like the Jadoon when they're not talking. Like I think they're actually kind of imposing before they start blabbing.
I love the armor, the helmet of the Jadoon. Always have. Going back however many years that is now, 2000.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed. Were you looking closely in the cantina there for all the different creatures? Because there were a ton.
I thought I saw a Hoix. There's the Ood, which is quite obvious.
You might have seen a Hoix. All I know is that on the end credits, there's a huge, like half the screen's taken up to such and such created by Bloom Boom. There's the Scullions.
Really?
Scullions or something. They were created by Gareth Roberts. They're credited to him.
Like a Sarah Jane, maybe.
It might have been actually. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, maybe, yeah, that makes sense. They're just kind of sitting around anyway.
Who's the caller? Kahler. The caller.
Color was in
Town Called Mercy?
Mercy.
There you go.
Yep.
That was credited to Toby Woodhouse. The Hath. There's a Hath in there. I remember seeing that.
Speaking of the caller, I don't know if you guys have watched Blunt Talk, Patrick Stewart's new show.
No, I've heard of it, though.
It's good, but
Great show. His valet is played by the guy who played the collar doctor in
Oh, really?
Mercy.
Oh, wow. What else? There's others in there that I can't remember now. Wasn't a Sycorax or something else. Wasn't a Hoix. They listed something else in the end credits, but anyway, there's a whole bunch of things to look for, which I thought was kind of fun.
I didn't actually look at the end credits. I think I still have the page open on the Wikipedia page open. Maybe I should look at that.
If you will. I
will.
I was kind of half annoyed and half amused by how that guy drifted around like he was a Dalek, like he was on a hoverboard, quote unquote.
And then it turns out he was a snake. I thought at first, honestly, I don't know how many other people thought this. I thought, ooh, it's the Mara, but it's
for the so-called colony Sarf. Yeah, I wondered, like when he, shall we say, disrobes. Actually, literally disrobes. That I was kind of half expecting the Doctor to say something Mara, which obviously didn't happen.
No,
we are just pathetic, nostalgic jerks.
Not when we're having 50 things thrown at us from the past. We are not pathetic nostalgia nuts because
we still are. We're just having
spoon-fed this stuff.
That's all.
Very much spoon-fed this stuff.
I don't know how that gets us off the hook, but okay.
Yeah. I love the idea of having Missy being sent the Doctor's will, quote unquote will, as his closest friend. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's the only other Time Lord in existence, so yeah.
To our knowledge at this point, sure. But and then it gets me thinking back to the Pertwee era where he's talking about how the Master is his best enemy and things like that, and even the confrontation that Clara has with Missy was about
When
that
he was a little girl.
good.
One of these
When
is
he
a
was a
lie.
little girl, yeah. One of these is the last of what? The Cloister
Wars.
Cloister Wars. I wonder
Cloister
what the
Wars
Cloister
and
Wars are.
was it
Which
mooning
is the whole point of saying
mooning the
it.
president? Was that?
No, they kidnapped the president and stole the moon.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that means.
In that case, I got a completely different mental image in my brain.
Yeah, actually,
My
when he
brain.
was a little girl is the least implausible one when you get down to it.
I know. I love the fact that and I'm one of those things is a lie. Which one? And so I just we are being
Yeah.
trolled at that point, and that's just great.
Of course.
Which, if you
is
want
fine.
another RTD callback, Warren, Cassandra was born a boy, so.
Oh, that's true, yes.
I love, I loved Missy saying that I need you to have 8 snipers on me. It's the only way you can trust me. And then when she's actually talking to Clara, she actually turns around and starts counting the snipers to realize there are 8. Like just this absent-minded moment, which seems so fitting for the character. The whole "no, I haven't turned good," starting killing people. Thanks for bringing spares.
Yeah,
Was quite amusing. Also, I love the return of her, which I kind of now is her. I guess maybe her catchphrase: "Say something nice before killing somebody." Mm-hmm. She did that with Osgood and 1 or 2 other times in series A finale.
Dr. Chang did that for him too.
Yes, that's true. Speaking of other callbacks, I even noted the thing about how there are 3 possible versions of Atlantis.
I know. I loved that.
Okay,
It's
now what's that a
great.
callback to? Because I heard it and I knew it was a callback. but I didn't know
Underwater
what to.
Menace and Time Monster for sure.
Oh, okay.
And the demons,
okay.
yeah. Atlantis has been destroyed 3 times in Doctor Who history
Yeah.
in 3 different stories, and I just love that. Yeah,
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
One of my point form notes just says Team Hoodie, which is I love the hoodie.
Interesting too to notice that a lot of people when they saw that the iconic. The image, of course, for Series 9 with the Doctor and Clara running from explosions and stuff. Everyone said that, he's wearing Troughton pants. What could that mean? It could be a Troughton. But also in that interview or something in the theater that we saw, he said, we're going back to the beginning of the Daleks, so I thought I'd wear some Hartnell pants. They're actually more of a tribute to William Hartnell's pants than Patrick Troughton's, everyone. So there, you're wrong.
I didn't even look. Are they like yellow check kind of thing?
There's this kind of gray check. Also, one thing I noticed, I've got it playing out in front of me right now, that the amp that the Doctor's playing on is a Magpie. So let's
As a Magpie Electrics
Yes,
or
nice.
electricals.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I want to talk about this too, but let's get. I don't want to end on your things that you hated, Chris. So let's talk about them now.
I just talked about Team Hoodie, man. I love it.
Team Hoodie is great.
No, but you had 2 things that were annoying to you, and I want to cover those off now.
What's on the T-shirt, by the way?
Yeah,
I'm trying
already-
to figure out what is on his T-shirt.
Oh, the Doctor's T-shirt.
Yes.
I don't know, Greenpeace. What if it's a Greenpeace T-shirt as a callback to David Banks's Doctor for the 2 nights that he played him on Doctor Who: The Ultimate Adventure in 1989?
Yeah, that would be
I
esoteric.
was going to say that's stretching, but maybe not in this particular instance.
Did you already mention the things that annoyed you, Chris?
Well, I've got 2. One I've already said. That was just about Dorium and the Judoon.
That annoyed you? That's a thing that annoyed
I
you.
just felt a little disappointed. It didn't annoy me. I just felt a little disappointed that we see this stuff, but we don't get as much as we could.
Here's the thing. Dorium, that wasn't his home, and that's just a place where he went to. You know what I mean?
It's called the Moldavarium. He's Dorium Moldavar.
But he's dead.
That was his place.
He doesn't need to be there.
Anyway.
I don't. It's not that big a deal. I didn't
No.
want.
Yeah.
I did say, "Oh, where is he?" And then I said, "I don't care. Let's see what else
I
is
didn't
going on."
say it was a bad thing. I just felt a little
Well, plus,
disappointed.
if you got Snake Guy flying around there, how does Blue Head Guy help? Because it's 2 different tones of things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pull it off, but why bother?
No
Like,
point.
You could-
gotta
you could-
simplify it sometimes. You know.
You could, and pardon the pun here, have Dorium as the figurehead representative that gets spoken to by I gotta look up the name of him, Colony Sarf, because that's a weird name.
Well, it's not a name; it's a description, basically. Because he's a snake colony. You see.
Colony, sure.
Yeah.
So Sarf, I guess, would be his name. Colony would be his description. There was the statement of, but who made Davros? And of course, we have the implication that it was the Doctor that kind of sparked that whole life choices in his life, which I think is ultimately gonna be kind of not the right path, because I can't imagine like you get this like the kid says at the beginning, like what the doctor asks him, what war is this, and the kid just says, it's the war. So I don't think that growing up in an environment like that, I don't really think that this one action by the doctor leaving Davros in the hand mines is the sole catalyst to his development as this evil genius. But one thing that I really loved, and I'm sure this is on your list as well, Stephen, is the shape of the doors in the quote unquote space station in the building.
Yeah,
because the shape. And the actual motion of the door is like straight from the Daleks.
Full on. They rebuilt the city. Now I wonder if did they actually, they'll talk about this later. The Master, Missy, thought that they rebuilt the whole thing. I'm wondering if they've been hiding ever since everyone thought Skaro was destroyed.
Could be.
Which time?
But
because
But, and this is the second thing that I had on the negative side.
Here we go.
Was that I wasn't really sold on the doctor's shock about it being Skaro because he was there in Asylum. So it's not like it's this never since the new series has begun has Skaro been mentioned or seen. And
Skaro looked a hell of a lot more developed in there. Like that city looked way more developed.
It's all red and rocky.
But but it had a cool Dalek building that looked like a Dalek, and I mean, it was kind of a whimsical one-off thing, but yeah, you're right. He was on Skaro, so who knows? Whatever. It's Doctor Who. Just go with it.
I mean, that's just it. You kind of got to go with it because even though we're throwing all this nostalgia and whatever, I mean, who cares? It isn't necessarily important in the grand scheme. That said, on my list, I had like the enjoyment over the clips of. The audio clips of Tom Baker and Sylvester McCoy, and of course, then the video clip of
and Peter Davison too.
And okay. And
Peter Davison as well.
Oh yeah, he was there. Yeah, all the doctors. Yeah, every doctor who met Davros was representing. And Lieutenant was in there too. So.
Okay, how did I only?
I didn't hear Colin Baker, but I'm sure
he was
right.
there. Oh, absolutely, he was there. Yeah.
Okay, I only heard Tom and Sylv for whatever reason.
What was Colin Baker's clip? I didn't hear. It was.
Have you ever decided, and you never thought to tell them that they might be eating their own relatives? That line from Revolution.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'll throw on my list of things to keep an ear open for on my next watching of the episode.
Indeed.
Couple last things were relative to the cliffhanger. With Missy being killed again and Clara killed, in inverted commas, if you will. Obviously, we know they're not going to be killed. But
nor the TARDIS destroyed.
Nor the TARDIS.
No, of course not. Yeah.
That said, you see all of the sparks coming off the TARDIS after it's attacked, which could be whatever. But so in my notes, I just wrote, is it maybe like a teleport beam a la Bad Wolf or what? I
don't think so. I think something's going to get rewritten. Hence the cliffhanger, meaning as much as it did.
Yes.
I personally don't think that he's going to shoot Davros in the.
He can't. How could he? He'll eliminate the Time War.
He's going to shoot the hand bombs. I think the hand mines. I think is what's going to happen.
There you go.
Maybe.
Then they'll chum around and be buddies, and he'll make Davros a good guy.
Yep.
Which is the last of my points. That it's interesting. Like the whole concept of it is interesting. That the Doctor seems to be breaking these time laws to go back to threaten Davros as a child, and that presumably he's not killed. It's not my thought. I'm not going to even say it, but I'm going to say that Erica, after the second time we watched through it, Erica, who of course you can hear on the Verity podcast, has her own theory about what might happen in part 2. And I am intrigued by it, we'll say, but I will not say any more other than that. I'm sure she'll talk about it for Wednesday's Verity episode.
I know. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe she will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked this episode. I have to tell you that I was, I think I might have said this earlier in this very episode, that I think it took a while for me to sort of get used to the pace of it again, Mm-hmm. Just because Moffat two-parters are different than other writers' two-parters in that they're jam-packed. You know what I mean? I think he jams a lot in. Like, if you were to write down, okay, there's Davros, Daleks, Skaro, the Master, Unit, Moldavarium, the Shadow Proclamation. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I think
if I can make not a counter to that, but just a side note to that, think of Pandorica Big Bang. Pandorica is this whiz bang, everything happens, and then Big Bang is this slow pace,
and maybe this
small
second one will be
cast.
too.
Yeah.
So you can't. I don't think it's reasonable to try to pigeonhole a two-parter just from part one, because we've seen like other than. Other than Dark Order, Death in Heaven, as I think we talked about last year, everything from Moffat two-parters, like part two, seems to have almost no bearing on part one.
Yeah, oddly enough, maybe just because of the presence of the Moldavarium, it kind of reminded me of the Wedding of Rivers song in a way, which I know wasn't a two-parter, but it just seemed like to be like crammed full of stuff. And so it took me a while to go, okay, I guess a lot of stuff going on here. And like I said, I think the Doctor's entrance, I think that scene went on a little too long. I think comedy works better in short bursts, and I think they tried to sort of stretch the joke out a little too much there. But apart from that, I mean, I love the bits between him and Davros. I'm hoping for more. I would have loved to have a longer scene between the Doctor, Clara, and Missy, which might happen in episode 2, because I think that's the most intriguing stuff. Like when they're sitting down on the ship, they're waiting to go to Skaro. There's a great little scene where the Doctor basically lays out the history of the Daleks and Davros to Clara, and indeed the viewer who might not have ever seen that before. That's what I liked about it. One
thing I love that Moffat does, so many times has he done this, is he'll take a piece of Doctor Who history and kind of look at it askance. And the little blurb, just to talk about the ship scene, the little blurb about the Doctor saying what must it be like to put your entire people, like all your peoples, into tanks. Like that's not a way I ever specifically thought of the Daleks' history, and it was intriguing.
It is. Yeah.
Moffat's good at that stuff, at taking Doctor Who history and spinning it around.
It's amazing the perspectives he can generate.
I quite liked I think I liked Michelle Gomez even more in this than I did last year, and I liked her last year. I think she's really great at the restrained performance, where she's sort of sitting down.
Restrained for Missy anyway.
What's that?
Restrained for Missy anyway.
Well, yeah, but they're just sitting down in that cafe in the Canary Islands, and just how she was just sort of like, she barely moved through that entire conversation with Clara, which I quite liked. I also liked how Clara was sort of calling the shots. Like, these snipers are on my command. She raises the hand, and I love how Missy backs down. I love that. It showed great strength in Clara's character as well. I love that she gets the call from Unit, this ordinary school teacher, and she's the one that runs off, and because she's that trusted. I
like Warren's point from earlier about Unit kind of seemed a little off their game, especially with Clara saying, "Oh, have you looked at this, like fault lines and power plants, or whatever?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we really haven't, and let's maybe do that." It just seemed a little dumbed down for Unit.
Yeah, Kate Stewart doesn't seem as in command as she usually does, because she usually seems very in command, like she's definitely in charge of the whole deal and has thought of it before you have. And then she didn't come across as that in this one for some reason.
Well, look at her last appearance in Death in Heaven. Just at the start of the episode, she just strides confidently up to the Doctor and Missy and Clara, and the Cyberman starts talking about, "Oh, you left this on a previous visit." Boom, there's a broken up cyberhead,
like David Doctor as well.
Yeah, but she's got this control and this suaveness and whatever, and it's a little off.
I know, and there's no heating either in Unit HQ. I mean, it's freezing.
You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah.
Obviously shot on location somewhere. I don't think they shot it at the Tower of London, but.
So after seeing, and I can't remember the character's name, after seeing the dude from the Doctor's Meditation.
Oh yeah.
Any particular thoughts on him being a Dalek agent?
He gets turned into a Dalek agent when the snake strangles him, I think, and not before. Because otherwise they wouldn't have to be looking for him. He's been there for 3 weeks. Why, if they know where he is for 3 weeks, they wouldn't be sending a snake buddy out there all around the universe to try and find him.
Actually, that would make sense. I honestly didn't think of that, but that would make some sense. Yeah.
What I'd like to know is, who is the Magician's Apprentice? What does the title mean?
That is a good. Yes, I'm not sure.
Obviously, we're led to believe, based on the Doctor's Meditation, that he's the magician.
You would think that. I think they even mentioned, what's his name? Boards
led to believe.
Yeah, Boards in the Doctor's Meditation, I think, actually calls him magician or something, doesn't
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does in the show itself, too.
Oh, he does there? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He says, as he comes in with the tank, he says, "Magician, I will face you," or something like that.
Yeah.
So who is the apprentice to the Doctor, then?
That of course, is predicated upon the Doctor actually being the magician, which we still don't know.
Maybe the apprentice is Davros next week. We shall see.
in the traditional sense, a familiar is an animal. So if we know who the witch is it going to be an actual literal animal as the familiar, or because we don't really have any animals unless like Missy has a pet Dalek
or an evil canine?
Yes, it's all come to this evil canine.
Yeah,
that's bound to happen. I think that's foretold.
Yeah.
The foretold was last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Never mind.
Yeah. What else did I like about this that we can talk about before we leave, or at least talk about news and stuff? I have to tell you, I was wary about this after seeing all the photos of it, but I can tell you that after seeing it in action in the prologue and indeed the Doctor's Meditation, and here, the hair works for me. Yeah, I think Peter Capaldi's hair works.
Nikes.
Good leading.
You can't let it go, eh?
No, it's a big change. That's as big of a change for hairdos in between.
What about Clara's hair? Wasn't it like parted in a slightly different way?
It's shorter this year. It's got a little bit of spunkier look.
I can say this as a man who doesn't have any hair. Who cares? Moving right along.
Yeah. I like Davros. I like the fact that he sort of has to lean on his robot hand the whole time.
Davros's hair looked great.
It did, yeah, but yeah, I liked all that.
How about this? Okay, so fair enough. The Doctor might have some valid reason for being surprised that they're back on Skaro, but obviously he knew they were on a planet because the one word he says to Missy in the jail cell is gravity.
I love it. Missy goes, "I know."
So obviously he knew that they were on a planet, but not Skaro, I guess, necessarily.
Can I mention?
But also, this Doctor reacts weirdly to everything, so no surprise there.
That's true.
And no next time trailer.
Oh, there was at the end. You missed it.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, then
there was
but it's very
end credits.
What I watched was cut off right when the credits rolled, so I didn't see that. So that's my bad.
Boo! Yeah, no. The clever thing is in the next time trailer, you see the Doctor, you see the Daleks. It looks way different. He's wearing a completely different outfit. Three things you don't see, as far as I know.
Missy, the TARDIS, and Clara.
You got it. Yeah,
which makes sense.
Kind of had a hunch,
but it was well done though. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this two-parter thing. It left me at the end of. I'm thinking I like this, but it's hard to judge it as a complete story. But I guess we can't. We have to get past that. We as nerds have to get past.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know it's very difficult, but we have to do it, folks. We have to do it.
That's one of the things I've been looking forward to about Series 9 is so many two-parters.
Yeah,
because it was
cliffhangers. Really,
there was sort of two-parter fatigue for a while there, which is one of the reasons behind Moffat doing no two-parters Series 7. I'm glad they're over that and they're back in rotation. But the fact we have 4 or 5 two-parters out of the 12 episodes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. As we'll get to when we talk about all the episodes that are coming up and their various titles. But
oh yeah, that's right. We do get to talk about that, don't we?
Is there any, before we do that though? Is there anything else in this episode that either of you want to mention? I think actually the one thing I'd like to ask about is that I've been watching it a couple times and I watched it very closely the third time as we've been recording this. Is that Clara is not wearing a vortex manipulator when she meets Missy? Does Missy slap one on her wrist because they both have one?
Missy just grabs her.
But Clara is wearing a vortex manipulator once they land in 1138 and for the rest of the episode.
Oh,
I didn't notice that.
I think she did. I think because Missy also says, your vortex manipulator is slave to mine or something. I think because she did grab her wrist.
If she did, I totally missed that somehow.
Yeah, I missed it too. One thing I'd like to... Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, just think back to Last of the Time Lords where everyone grabs the one vortex manipulator so they can get back to Earth to fight Saxon. But sorry, Warren.
Two things, actually. I'd like to eventually see Missy with her own TARDIS, just because I liked it when the Master had his own TARDIS, so I'm like, that's cool, another TARDIS. But one thing I'd like to see here is he gets rid of this sonic screwdriver, because I've always wanted each Doctor to have their own new sonic screwdriver, and I'd like to see a Capaldi pared down old school sonic screwdriver as opposed to the Matt Smith era one. And this looks like a perfect opportunity for that to happen.
Right now he doesn't have one. That's a great thing.
That's right, and he probably won't use this one. So
The 10th Doctor screwdriver is the same as the 9th Doctor's, though.
yeah, true.
Little bit. I think it's bigger, actually. It's slightly bigger.
Well, okay, fine. I'm just saying. I would like, and I like the fact that the War Doctor had his own different screwdriver too. So I would like Capaldi to have his own. Just my own silly desire.
Yeah, but nothing wrong with that.
Be kind of cool if he didn't have one at all. That would be kind of neat.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
I don't. So I mean, it took 20 years. Well, okay, not 20 years, because it was, what was Fear from the Deep? 67?
68.
68. Third to the Visitation, 82. So
Okay.
it took 14 years to get rid of the sonic screwdriver in the original series. So I don't know if they're going to do that in this one. Or?
You need 14
Did he
years.
have
you
it
need
back in
14
the TV movie? I can never remember.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right.
And Sylvester McCoy held it the wrong way around, so they had to blur it out in post.
Well, and he had it in Night of the Doctor as well. So
He did, didn't he?
I'm
yeah.
trying to think
Yes.
back to that, but I think
Yeah.
you're right.
He did. All right. So that's it then. Next week, the
Probably.
Doctor
Well,
has to
we
do
may
something.
we may remember stuff.
We usually do. This is why we do commentaries for
Well,
these
then.
things, for these things too a few months later. So yeah.
True.
All right. What do we got next then? God, this is when we talk about stats. This is so sad in a way.
no, it's not in a way.
You're lost. You don't know what to speak about next, even
I
though there's a
know.
list in front of you.
There is a list, but
Well, let's talk. I know it's not strictly speaking the next thing on the list. Let's talk about Coleman.
Yeah, Jenna Coleman's
I think
leaving.
that's worth a few minutes of our time at least.
it's just a bit. On the Friday before the premiere, it was finally announced by the BBC. What I think we all had in mind that indeed Jenna Coleman is leaving Doctor Who. I think at the end of series 9 they said, or she is leaving. She has left. They never said at the end of series 9, midway through Christmas special. I
She's
sense
gone
it.
by the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I sense that she's not going to be in the Christmas special, even though her arrival in Cardiff coincided with the beginning of the shooting of the Christmas special, but this is the premiere.
That could be anything from going back for press screenings
Yeah.
to having to do some ADR.
They could be shooting the Queen Victoria thing there. Who knows?
Sure, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think Rivers' presence is going to be big enough in the Christmas special that it shouldn't be a surprise that Clara wouldn't, if assuming she's not in it, that she won't be in it. But yeah, it's broken by the Daily Mail, Mirror, one of the
Mirror.
It was the Mirror, and oddly enough, the Mirror broke it, and the BBC Entertainment Twitter feed
Cited
was
them.
was routinely retweeting them and everything. I thought that was very strange.
Well, the actual BBC is like, no, we can't possibly comment on that.
I know.
That's the joys of a very large organization.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much. Left hand, right hand, etc.
Yeah.
An interesting photo was tweeted out on the Saturday, the day of the premiere, of Abbey Road shot with the Doctor, Clara, and two Daleks going across, as the Beatles would. Capaldi's got his hands in his pocket and has a pose very much like John Lennon at the front there. Then there's a Dalek, which would be George, I think. No, Ringo's second, isn't he? Ringo's second, George.
I just have to dig up my copy of Abbey Road to look.
But
'cause I've only looked at the cover a billion times.
Yeah.
Don't expect me to actually remember the
Just
order
know
of
John's
the
at the
Beatles.
front.
yeah, well, Jenna Coleman as Clara has no shoes on, a la Paul McCartney. And of course,
okay.
the corpse
That's right.
doesn't have shoes, and
I didn't even notice that she
Harrison's
didn't
the
have
Gravedigger, and Ringo's the Undertaker, and John Lennon was the
God.
priest. I mean, everyone's sort of there's even a Beatle, and Edward Russell I think tweeted out that it says DWW 29IF 29 if, another reference to perhaps Clara, and maybe 29 if she lived or something like that, because this is the whole Paul is dead thing, you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Jenna Coleman leaving Doctor Who, which means I get to do an exit interview with her next week at Edmonton Expo, which is going to be interesting and exciting. So,
Yeah, I won't be able to see that. I'm doubly sad now.
oh, are you? Oh, you're not be able to.
I'm unavailable on the Sunday to go to Expo.
Well, I won't see it either, Chris, because I'm not in the same city.
You're not in the same city, sure.
I just hope my voice improves. So that I can
You've got a week.
I said that after Sasquatch, when this stupid cough or whatever I have sprang up, and it's been like almost a month since then, and I'm still sick.
Lots of tea with lemon and honey, or
Plague. You got the plague.
whatever the cure is supposed to be. Fisherman's Friends do. Just
medicine. Maybe. No, I'm trying to... you know what?
Medicine seems a bit radical.
I know.
Try this homeopathic cure.
Yeah, let's put one drop of medicine in 1 billion gallons of water, and hopefully that'll work.
to greatly misquote Chris Rock, more tussin.
I made that tussin joke the other day, actually.
He did, actually. I've almost devoured a whole bottle of Robitussin, or Benylin, as a matter of fact. Although, of course, other cough syrups are available. Yeah, Jenna Coleman leaving Doctor Who after 3 seasons. That's an impressive run. I'm going to miss the repartee between Capaldi and Coleman, but I suppose 3 seasons for a companion is pretty much,
that's a lot.
The maximum,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because when you ran the numbers when we heard that Coleman was at least meant to be in all 12 for Series 9, and it was how many? I don't remember how many more episodes she will have appeared in than the Pawns, or Amy anyway.
Well, that's your number running. I don't run such numbers. That borders on.
I was either ran those numbers anyway.
Oh hell no!
I would numbers.
You would, and Warren wouldn't have done it, and that sounds like effort to me. This sounds like you. I think this is you, Chris. I think you did this.
Warren definitely wouldn't do that.
No.
Nope. Me and numbers don't get along.
No.
No, well, maybe somebody else then. I thought it was you for some reason.
Hell
anyway,
no. Why would you?
Anyway, if memory serves, it was determined she was in X more episodes than Amy Pond.
There is no way in hell I would ever do that.
Yeah.
That is the biggest waste of time.
I'm sure some other nerd probably did this calculation.
That's probable.
And I might have quoted that, or you might have quoted that, or you put it in the news list, Chris, and I read it out, and so that's why you think I said
I would
it.
only ever hate quote that I didn't.
Can you hate quote something? Is that a thing you can do?
If it's on Twitter, then probably.
Okay.
Sure. Hate retweet.
Yeah. Anyway, but with Doctor Who apparently not having a full season of 12 episodes in 2016, it kind of makes sense, I suppose, to not have to not introduce a new companion in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll sort of be the hook for the next season when it comes back. So,
mind you, I can't remember what site it was on. There's some Doctor Who blog / website that I was having a gander at, and they had a little guest article about what if River were the next companion. And it was just the Doctor and River traveling in the TARDIS for a while.
I think that's very, very, very problematic, and that's also the basest form of nerd laziness. There's a thing in front of me; it must be a thing that's happening.
As we record, I'm sitting a few feet away from Kat, and she just visibly shuddered when I spoke those words.
Good. I'm on Team Kat on this one.
No, she's probably shuddered because she doesn't like River. I like River.
Yes,
I like River quite a bit, but I don't think she would make a good long-term companion. Having said that, I said the same thing about Donna, and I was completely wrong. So
most people were completely wrong about Donna.
Who knows? I'd love to be proven wrong, as I've said many times before, but I just don't think the timeline thing, it would just be god awful confusing. And she's better in small doses.
I think she's done her time on Arrow, so I don't know if she has any other ongoing commitments for other shows to not be able to do a prolonged thing if that was a thought in production team's mind, but. To go a little bit off script here, while we're on the topic
I don't know.
of
We're not usually prone to improv on this podcast.
No,
so just
never.
be careful where you're going,
or digression for that matter.
No.
It's all very carefully scripted.
Now that we know for a fact that Coleman is leaving in or at the end of Series 9, I just wanted to ask you guys, put you on the spot, and ask you guys what your favorite Clara moments were.
Good.
You go first because I got to think of something.
The Kill the Moon speech. The one that got her nominated for a Welsh BAFTA, which is being handed out next Sunday. That's got to be... What's that?
The Welshies.
Yeah, that's got to be... immediately leaps to mind. Ooh, goodness. There's a lot of
quite like her A Day of the Doctor. It was kind of showing off. That's
I would happily go back very far in time and cite all the Souffle Girl stuff in Asylum.
I was about to think about that too.
At the time, and even still... Asylum is not one of my favorites from Series 7. But Coleman's appearance in that, I thought, was one of the better elements of it.
She is definitely great in it. I would say almost everything about her in Name of the Doctor is fantastic. She's great in that.
I think I said this. Erica and I were on the Who's He podcast talking about Clara, actually. It went out the week before, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I think. And I mean, I like the Pawns and everything, but... Clara being in Asylum of the Daleks, A, was surprising because we didn't expect it, and B, it kind of reminded me, and I said this on Who's He. It reminded me of Ace and Mel being in Dragonfire together, and you realize how kind of boring Mel is by that point, and how excited you are to see Ace.
Six stories into her.
Yeah, but I was like,
I realized that way before that, but okay.
Yeah, but I was thinking, I like this new companion. I'm thinking I'm really excited. I remember not noticing it was her for a couple scenes and going, wait a minute, is that Jenna Louise Coleman? As she was known back then.
Yeah.
I thought, whoa, I didn't quite twig that it was her.
I had the exact same thing. I was just going to say Mel was actually kind of dynamic in Delta, but
I know, but do you know what I'm? Don't, you're just hammering. No, you're nerding. This is what you're doing. Don't nerd
on a Doctor Who podcast.
I know,
really out of character.
No way.
Anyway, I adored Clara. Her and Capaldi in Series 8 were one of my favorite companion Doctor teams ever. So yeah, I'm gonna get.
She's great with Smith too. She's just one. I think she's.
Go on.
Is she the best of the new Who companions?
She's mine. She's my favorite for sure.
No, Donna's better. But
she's my favorite above Donna.
No, I would say she's a close second to Donna. That's what I would say.
I don't know if this is going to come across as a twisted thought or perspective, but one of the things that sticks out in my mind that I really enjoyed was Flatline. At the end of Flatline, how she says, wasn't I a good doctor? Mm-hmm. And then the doctor turns to her and says, well, you were the doctor, but it doesn't mean you were good, or whatever the exact wording was.
Yeah.
Just kind of try to keep her in check, kind of thing.
I thought that had more to do with the doctor being self-critical than it did with her.
Yeah.
I never actually took that perspective, but okay.
I did.
I can see that.
I did, yeah. And that's a great, I think of all the companions, who sort of like become, they become bigger in the universe, and their roles become bigger as their time on the show comes along. And I, when Clara was just like calling the shots in Unit HQ in this episode, I just said, yeah, this is believable. I believe this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I didn't believe Unit just kind of going, okay. Yeah, but I did believe her calling the shots.
Yeah. Which is a crazy stark contrast to Nightmare in Silver, where she gets put in put in command of the punishment army. Mm-hmm. And I distinctly remember us questioning how that could have been a thing.
Well, it's a poor script for one. But
yeah, I think it had more to do with the writing than the anything else.
But now a couple of years years later,
and more experience under her belt.
It seems a more natural thing for her to be doing.
Yeah, mm-hmm. She's just such a great. She's so different from Capaldi's Doctor that she can fill that role without taking over from the Doctor. You know what I mean? It's just one of the great. They just really mesh well together. Both in,
and she can stand up to him, which is nice.
Yeah, it doesn't take his crap. Yeah.
And if I can throw one last of my favorite Clara moments or memories, even referenced by Will Wheaton in the interview from Death in Heaven, the start of Death in Heaven, just the I am the Doctor speech, mm-hmm. which was just awesome.
It was, the whole thing, great stuff. Yes, we still miss her, but we still have a whole series yet to come, and she'll be in a lot of. Some people were sort of like, "Oh, is she gonna is she dead now and won't come back until late?" No, she's in you see her in the underwater episodes, you see her in the Maisie Williams 2-parter, you see her in the Unit ones, I think, Fire in the Rocket Launcher. She's in the episode 10 at least. Yeah, so she's. I don't know when she's. I don't know about the finale because not much is known about that right yet, but she's pretty much in the whole series.
And at least we've got a couple of years under our belts, as it were, with her as a character. So it's not like an Eccleston where right in the start of the series we realize or learn that he's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we should. I mentioned it a few times. We should mention the screening that Chris and I went to in separate theaters. I went to one in North Edmonton. Chris went to the sort of the flagship theater, I suppose. West Edmonton Mall.
The cinemas themselves may be flagship in this, somewhat flagship in the city, but this was one of the smaller, not so great ones.
Yeah, we had the smaller one. I think it was the same for Day of the Doctor, though, wasn't it? I don't think Day of the Doctor was that big of a theater. Plus, Day of the Doctor was at 12:55 on a Saturday afternoon in November. It wasn't exactly prime time.
I was also
it was prime time for all weekends.
Yeah. But. For the one I was at, it was a couple hundred seats in the cinema, and it was 30%, maybe a third full.
Oh, really? That's disappointing.
Yeah. No cosplayers. One person in a TARDIS toque. Several sonic screwdrivers. Some enthusiasm, like when you and I went to
moderate enthusiasm,
yeah, relative to Day of the Doctor, or even for that matter. But like when you and I went to Day of the Doctor, Stephen, like there was a cosplay contest. We were there 2.5 hours early or something to get good seats, and it was full. It was packed. It was electric.
Well, that's the 50th anniversary. Yeah. Of course, it's gonna be different.
Yeah. But I mean, no one has seen the episode before either.
Exactly. Whereas this one, because it all went out late last year, people have had, it's been on home video for X number of months, and so I mean, it's. I can understand the jubilation being lower.
Yeah, but from my perspective, because I didn't go to any of this, I on my Twitter feed saw all these selfies, including you, Chris and Kat, and like a bunch of friends from all over, like North America, basically going, "Oh, we're seeing it," and here's a selfie of us in the theater, and everybody looking very happy. So to me, it seemed like this big celebration was happening that I was missing out on. so thanks for telling me that wasn't quite the case.
Put a happy face on it. I don't know. Got a couple of the somewhat fun posters. I don't know. They're like 3 feet away. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Oh, see, we never got posters at ours, but it was mostly full. Yeah, the screening was mostly full. It was still nice. It was still nice to be surrounded by, Doctor Who fans watching Doctor Who. It still does not sink in that it is as popular as it is. But yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been concerned about, the diminishing returns. Each time you do a cinema screening, the novelty factor wears off.
That's why I don't go to them.
Well, it's all going to be based on what it is they're showing. So for Deep Breath, the only option we had here was 2 days after it aired on BBC One Space and BBC America. But it was still something that was really fresh. So when we were there, I seem to recall it being, if not fully packed, it was very close to full.
And a lot of people, they waited to watch it in the theater for the first time too. Yeah,
I know a few people who did that. Yeah.
Whereas as you say, the 3D element, I think, was a selling point on this, and it looked pretty good.
I didn't care for it.
Okay, well,
I'm waiting for a virtual high five from Warren on this one. It didn't.
It all depends on the presentation. I like 3D in Day of the Doctor. If it's done well, 3D can be great. It is rarely, if ever, done well.
It was quite honestly, the only part of the 3D that did anything for me was the opening and closing credits.
Yeah, which are specifically made.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all retrofitting anyway, so it's not like Day of the Doctor where they made a point of shooting in 3D, and there's elements of the story that have 3D in them. Like,
this is all rotoscoped out or whatever the heck they do these days. But I mean, it didn't serve any useful purpose for this.
No. Interesting to know too that I noticed a couple times there were slightly different music cues. The one I really noticed is when the Doctor and what's his name, Chris Addison's character, go through the doors and I go, there's something I'm missing. It's probably quite obvious, and the doors close and it looks like the Cyberman eyes. In the original TV version, it's bang on, boom, burr, 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 burr,
I remember that.
In the cinema one, it's there, but it's a lot more subtle. And there was another music cue that I think was slightly different later on. And I actually I asked Rachel Talalay on Twitter. I just did you I noticed a couple of music cues. Did you have anything to do with this? No involvement at all in the 3Dification or any of the editing together. There wasn't much of an edit in between episodes. It literally chopped to black for half a second after Danny looks in the iPad to see the reflection of the kid he killed, and then it pops right back up at the beginning of episode 2. So.
Which, I mean, for what they're showing, you have to do it that way.
Yep.
But man, because I was talking to Graham Burke about this a little bit on Facebook, about how it was kind of like a throwback to watching it on PBS as a kid and watching the omnibus versions, and it isn't until we see the episodic versions that we realize how much we missed with the cliffhangers. And I really, really missed the cliffhanger, because it's a very good cliffhanger. It's a very good reprise. But I really missed that element. But, of course, they can't show that.
Nope. It's funny, isn't it? After, we grew up on omnibus versions, and then we see an omnibus version, and we get annoyed.
Well, I don't, because I'm not a pedantic nerd.
That's true.
So there we go.
Given most of what we see these days, Series 9 notwithstanding, are standalone 45-minute episodes, we're kind of used to this neat little package in general.
Mm-hmm. There we are. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed going to it. I missed an Oilers preseason game and a Kraftwerk concert here in Edmonton to go to this.
I almost
and you were scolded mightily for that.
I was. Gary Russell did, yeah.
I almost went to see Kraftwerk instead, back when tickets for that first one on sale.
Yeah.
That's at a former coworker of mine went, and he posted some videos on Facebook, so at least I got to see some of the concert.
I heard the light show was amazing.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, but honestly,
aren't they all 150 by now? Like,
what's
they
that?
gotta be really old.
Oh, well, they're in their 60s. And there's only 2 original members left. Floy and Schneider, and the other one, I can't remember who. Ralph Hutter, I think, is the other one. And I think they've Carl Bouffant.
These all sound like Simpsons jokes.
I know, but I'm not. Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, for 40 years, it's been them at their laptops, you know, doing stuff. And even back in the olden days, Kraftwerk concerts. It's funny. I actually have a bootleg Kraftwerk concert, and there's like 10 minutes where they're not doing anything, and one of them gets on the, yes, sorry, we are repairing the drum machine. 1 moment, please, and then they get back. And just it's very funny. Anyway, Kraftwerk, Doctor Who, yes.
I can't remember the name of the band. I went to see KMFDM once, and the opening act they had was dreadful, but it was just like drum machines and stuff, and sort of Kraftwerkian in their.
I really hope the
style.
band's name was Dreadful. That'd be really cool.
But wish I could remember the name. But that kind of turned me off the idea of maybe going to that style of a show.
Well,
again,
no,
not that I had any idea they were there in the first place.
You went to see James Zabila in San Francisco. I mean, that's
yeah, I did.
And we may see him in London. I messaged him and he said he's around. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Say hi from me.
Friend of the show, James Zabila.
But when I went to go see James spin, it's different. That's a DJ. That's EDM. That's EDM. That's a little different from
quite a concert.
How I would classify Kraftwerk.
That's true.
Anyway,
let's move on. Let's we talked about that. We're jumping around.
I feel almost dirty stopping you from digressing, but
I know we've been on for like an hour and 5 minutes. This is amazing. I don't know how we do this. One thing that's missing this year, Doctor Who Extra. There's a few like interview clips online on the BBC website, but that's about it. There's no actual Doctor Who Extra, unless I missed something, which I don't think I did.
Hey, I missed that there was a next time trailer, so anything's possible.
That's true. Next time trailer is, of course, for Which is Familiar, which airs at 7:45 p.m. As it gets dark in the UK, which is kind of nice to watch that. So that's what's happening there. There'll be another, I assume, Stuart Manning poster. He's doing those posters for the Radio Times again. The one for Magician's Apprentice is awesome.
They're all going to be awesome, I don't doubt.
That's true.
I didn't even know he was there. Speaking of Rachel Talley on Twitter, the first inkling I saw that he was doing another set of posters was from her, and I kind of did a little cheer.
Yay. All right, I did a little cheer there, too.
Quite weak, yes.
Yeah. Also, preventing nerds like us from going bat poop crazy over the next 12 weeks, the BBC released all the episode titles for the upcoming season. The Magician's Apprentice, Which is Familiar, we already knew. Under the Lake, Before the Flood are 3 and 4, another two-parter.
Toby Whithouse.
Toby Whithouse is two-parter.
I was going to say one thing, just to kind of do a quick callback to the cinema screening, more specifically the Doctor's Meditation. I was surprised to see Ed Bazalgette was the director on that one rather than Hetty MacDonald.
I'm not, because maybe that's who directed those scenes.
Well, it's maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. You know, we haven't seen episode 5 yet, so maybe.
No, because I mean, I have a feeling that was quite possibly maybe filmed when Bazalgette was doing his block.
Yeah, well, I mean, probably because I think all of it's on location. Actually, I think the probably the actual Capaldi's entrance with the in the arena there, I think that's probably in a studio. Hence directed by Hetty MacDonald, but I imagine all the stuff shot at the castle, or perhaps shot at the same castle which appears to be in that episode 5 and 6, that being, of course, the girl who died and the woman who lived. This one will confuse me. Episode 7 and 8, the Zygon Invasion is episode 7, and the Zygon Inversion is episode 8.
Which is a cool title.
It is, but if you invert those two, that means the Zygon inversion is episode 7 and the Zygon invasion. So don't invert inversion. Go invasion.
I'm just hoping it's not a bunch of
inversion.
Zygons turning inside out, because that'd be really disgusting.
And for what it's worth, I honestly can't remember if you just mentioned it, Stephen, but the link in the show notes is going to have at least a little bit of a description or a synopsis of what it is. So if you're averse to seeing such things, do not click the link in the show notes.
Yeah,
please.
that's Radio Times, though. That's from Stephen Moffat himself. He wants you to know those things, but if you don't
and
want
he's
to...
telling
and
you
I guess-
nothing because I've read this.
And I didn't actually, bad fan here, I didn't actually look at it. Apparently Brian Minchin did something similar for a magazine. Like he did his own version of a little preview for some or most of the series.
I don't remember. What, Doctor Who magazine, you mean?
No, it wasn't Doctor Who magazine. It was some other British magazine.
Oh, well, I don't know then. I haven't seen it.
If my brain works and I remember, I'll try to find a link for the show notes.
Or not.
I make no promises.
Episode 9, Sleep No More, is the Marcadis episode. Episode 10's Face the Raven. Ooh. And then the final, the two-part finale. Heaven Sent and Hellbent, which Paul Cornell...
Those are good titles.
Paul Cornell says is a line from a song by The.
Nice.
So who knows?
And also directed by Rachel Towley, and also the second year in a row we have a finale involving heaven.
Whoa.
Or, well, maybe.
Well, at least heaven in the title is part of the finale.
Heaven is in the title. I'll give you that, yeah.
It's a trend. It's a trend, Warren. It's official. Anyway, we're in the midst of a BBC America marathon. I think they're going until next Wednesday with various Doctor Who stuff spaced on Saturday leading up to Magician's Apprentice, aired all the Master episodes.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they included the end of time.
They did.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah. What else is happening? Oh, another thing that actually popped up pre-cinema screening. There's a couple ads. There was one for the BBC Shop. There's one for the Christmas specials box set. For all the... Yeah, no, and now that has artwork as well. With 3 discs. There are only 3 discs, or there's 4. 4 DVDs, 3 Blu-rays of all the Christmas specials that are now in a box set. You get a little sonic screwdriver for that deal, too. That's coming out November 24th. It has artwork. It has a pretty picture on it. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was that. Last. Is this last? I feel like we've jumped around a bit.
It's last.
Okay.
No, it's last.
That's
I
surprising.
think we've covered everything anyway.
No, we've covered enough. We've been doing this for more than an hour. Yeah. Tracy Ann Oberman as Yvonne Hartman is also coming back for Torchwood. I like this because I'm wondering how this is going to tie together, because there were sort of 2 different kind of Torchwoods, weren't they? You know, Torchwood 1 and Torchwood 4, something that, you know, Captain Jack was running.
Torchwood 3, Torchwood 4 vanished mysteriously.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I was
Just
gonna
like
say which
Babylon
one vanished.
4. Ooh, yeah.
Torchwood 3 is in Utopia. Jack was saying to the Doctor how he set it up to be different from the main
Fauna.
Torchwood.
Yeah. That was in
Whereas,
one Canada
whereas in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, obviously it was
evil.
It
was an evil.
Not really evil, just
bureaucratically dumb.
Not Doctor friendly.
Also in the cast is Dan Starkey and Catherine Stewart. I like Dan Starkey's cameo for a promo. I haven't watched the Doctor Who fan show, which sort of ended its current run on the Friday before Magician's Apprentice, and Dan Starkey appeared as Coordinator Engen, obviously regenerated, as that's what he actually said in the thing. It's
That's awesome.
funny. Yeah.
And I have nominated Captain Crystal, by the way, as the new companion.
Yes. Why not?
Captain Crystal?
Yeah.
From the Doctor Who fan
Crystal
show.
D, yeah, that's her Twitter handle.
Anyway,
the Torchwood thing. When does this one come out? December. There we go.
This is the
Torchwood one roll.
fourth one, I think.
It is, and then the actual full series actually starts in January, or is this the first series? I can't remember now. I'm losing track.
Yeah, especially with the second series having been announced last week.
I know. We're getting mixed up our own news list.
It probably also doesn't help that we don't tend to listen to much from Big Finish.
No, it's tough.
I listen to Who's Round pretty regularly, but yes. So I hear the trailers a lot.
That's true.
Speaking of Tom Baker Gallifrey episodes, the Milton Johns episodes, which I got to today, were quite good.
Yeah.
I'm probably asking the wrong people because I don't know either, and we're all, like you just said, pretty ignorant about Big Finish. But would any of the stuff in this particular story have any tie-ins to Davros?
I don't know. I haven't listened to I, Davros.
Because that's one thing I thought. So I thought of when I never listened to it either. But I was like, I wonder if there's bits and pieces lifted from that.
There was enough. There were
whatever.
enough references to other classic Who stuff that I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. But
for anybody who might be aware, please feel free.
Yeah, because I'm sure somebody listening has listened to I, Davros. So let us know.
School Warren.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
schooling me if I ask for it.
Yeah,
that's hardly schooling.
That
I am personally indifferent to learning this information.
I know you are. But
so you're gonna slough it off on me? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We've been volunteered.
All right, this is like 74. This is our longest review episode in some time. I can't believe.
Well, it's all the Kraftwerk talk, man.
Whatever.
Yeah,
we talked for like a minute.
How can we not?
A minute about
you chewed up a good solid minute about Capaldi's hair.
Yeah,
20 seconds about Capaldi's hair.
That was like 15 minutes, man.
20 seconds of talk and then 40 seconds of swooning. So yeah, there we go.
All right. Next week, The Witch is Familiar in the most frenetic day in Radio Free Skaro history, because my band has a gig in a different town, and so we basically have to watch the episode, review the episode, and then off I go. So, yeah.
And it's also Edmonton Expo. So
Edmonton Expo's the next day, so I'll be like completely tired.
Well, your Jenna Coleman interview is the next day. Edmonton Expo runs...
I know, and I won't see any of it. I won't see any of Edmonton Expo until I get on stage, basically, to interview Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
So that'll be my weekend. So
go to bed at 7 p.m. all night, every night next week,
leading up to it.
Fight this cough. Yes,
I might have to do that, or get some really wicked prescription drugs. I'm not too sure which, but
or both. What the hell?
Caffeine pills work fine.
Oh, caffeine. Yes, that'll work great. It's what
that'll
killed
help with the cough,
Keith
I'm sure.
Moon. Yeah,
this is why, amongst other reasons, Chris, you're not a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Lack of medical
the whole
being
lack
another
of med school would be a good reason.
Yeah, a complete lack of expertise would kind of be the keystone of the whole thing.
All right, are we done? Please say yes.
Yes.
Good. All right, until next time, I am Steven in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.